Morning, everyone. This is the Office of Consumer Credit Commissioners stakeholder meeting to discuss the rule review for the Texas Financial Education Endowment, or TFEE. My name is Matt Nance, and I'm the OCCC's Deputy General Counsel. I'm joined by several members of the OCCC staff, including Commissioner Leslie Pettyjohn, Director of Licensing and Finance Moran Diamond, Supervising Examiner Christine Graham, Assistant General Counsel Audrey Spalding, and Senior Paralegal Ginger Harmon, who's acting as our meeting organizer. We are holding this meeting through an online webinar, and I want to thank everyone for joining us. Getting input from stakeholders is a really important part of the rulemaking process, and these meetings help us make sure we produce the best rules possible. Our webinar platform is GoToWebinar. Some of you might be listening on your phones, some may be watching on your computers, and some might be doing both. For those watching on your computer, there's a chat window where you can submit questions. If you have technical questions about using the webinar, you can type them in there and Ginger will try to answer those. If you have any comments on the rule amendments, go ahead and type those in at any time and I'll be getting to those as well. And if you're on a computer with a mic, there's a function allowing you to raise your hand and then we can let you make a comment verbally. We're discussing a pre-comment draft of rule amendments that's available on the OCCC's webpage for recent and upcoming rules. On that page, you can see the draft rules by clicking on the link for TFEE rule review. We're talking about rule amendments that are coming out of a process called rule review. The Texas Government Code requires state agencies to review their rules every 4 years to make sure they should still exist and to make any necessary updates. And when we do that, we try to get input from stakeholders on whether the rules should be updated. The rules governing TFEE in Title 7, Chapter 7 of the Texas Administrative Code are currently up for review. The Texas legislature established TFEE in 2011 as an endowment to support financial education in Texas. TFEE is funded by annual fees paid by credit access businesses, or CABs, that the OCCC licenses. So I'd like to first summarize these rules and then lay out the proposed timeline for the rules, and then you'll have a chance to provide comments. There are 2 different sections with proposed rule changes coming out of this rule review. In section 7.102, we'd amend text having to do with the commissioner's authority to designate other persons to perform functions related to TFEE. We add some text to explain that the investment officer's responsibilities include maintaining compliance. We'd also move some text on executing grant agreements to a new sentence to provide some flexibility and clarify the commissioner's authority to designate another person, not necessarily the investment officer, to execute grant agreements. In section 83.3010, we're proposing reducing the annual fee that CABs pay toward TFEE from $200 to $100. In looking at the fund balance for TFEE, we believe the endowment is close to a sustaining level and that now is an appropriate time to consider reducing the current $200 assessment. This graph is from some recent audit committee materials and shows that the change in the TFEE fund balance since the OCCC started licensing CABs. As of February 2021, the fund balance was approximately $9.1 million. And from this graph, you can see how the balance has increased. For example, $5.8 million in FY 2018, $7.9 million in FY 2019, and $8.3 million in FY 2020. This slide shows grant disbursement amounts for the most recent TFEE grant cycles. Last month, the Finance Commission approved a total disbursement of $350,000 for the 2022 to 2023 grant cycle. This follows previous disbursements of $300,000 for the most recent cycle and $250,000 for the previous cycle. The OCCC believes that even after reducing the TFEE assessment to $100, TFEE would still be able to continue growing while also making substantial grants to support financial education in Texas. Here's a proposed timeline for the rules. You can see that we're requesting informal pre-comments by July 28th. We intend to propose the amendments at the Finance Commission's August 20th meeting. There will be an official comment period during the month of September. We would present the rules for adoption at the Finance Commission's October meeting, and we anticipate the rules would be effective in early November. Of course, this is a tentative timeline and subject to approval by the Finance Commission of this rule action. So with that, I have summarized the rule action, and I will open things up to comments on the rule amendments. Again, there are two ways to provide your feedback through this webinar. First, you can type your comment out and send it to us through the webinar's chat or question feature, or if you're on a computer with a mic, there should be a function allowing you to raise your hand. So Ginger, do we have any written questions or comments through the webinar? Okay, I'm showing that we have no questions or hands raised at this time. I will wait for a minute or so and just check and see if we have any questions or hands raised in case anyone wants to make any comments. So if you need to type out a longer question, you can go ahead and type a short message that you're typing a longer question and let us know to wait, and we can go ahead and wait for that. But yeah, otherwise feel free to raise your hand or type in a question in the next minute or so. Okay, I still don't see any questions or hands raised, so I'm going to start wrapping up, but if anyone wants to pop in and raise a hand or send a quick message before we wrap up, just send a quick message. But other than that, I will start wrapping up. So I want to thank everyone for joining us and listening in on this webinar. As always, rule updates are available on our website, and we'll be posting audio of this meeting. We are accepting written pre-comments on these rules until 5 p.m. next Wednesday, July 28th. Please email those to me at rule.comments@occc.texas.gov, which is our email address for rule comments. And thank you all for attending. Please be safe out there, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.